Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the Soul Goals. I'm Dawn, and
And
right
I'm
next to me,
Dixie. See, I
yes,
beat you to the delightful.
you
So
did.
sorry.
Wait,
Sorry.
I wanted to say delightful.
I'm so sorry. I got so excited
The
about
delightful
starting.
Dixie. The delightful Dixie.
Oh my
How are
goodness.
you today?
I'm good. It just occurred to me that I might have worn this same green tank top last week. So if I did, sorry, people see it twice.
It's a beautiful color on you.
If they're even watching. But I don't know.
Well,
Spring makes me want to wear pink and green and
yeah,
all the
it's
fun things.
beautiful. That bright green looks gorgeous on you, my friend.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yes.
It's
Well, today's episode is an interesting one. It's a hard one for me because I spent so much significant time sitting in this chair called Shoulda, Woulda, Coulda.
mm-hmm.
So we're calling this episode Shoulda, Woulda, Coulda. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. When we say we should do something instead of reframing it, and that's the idea behind this week's challenge that we took on, was to write down our should list and then to reframe it by choosing to write the word could in place of the word should.
Mm-hmm.
So, all that meaning is that what you're doing is it's taking away this obligation and giving you some choice in the matter of whatever it is that you're experiencing or whatever you're writing about or whatever you're dealing with in the moment. So, I am, as always, interested to hear how the shoulda, woulda, coulda process went for you this week, Dixie, because I know you were in the middle of some stuff too.
Yeah, I was. And it kind of hit me where kind of I've been living this week. And then it brought up a lot of things that I probably should have done better, if you will.
Yeah.
Um being in postmenopause and the journey of it and what it's done to my physical body and what I probably should have done over the last year, really, when it was official. I did really good in that first year when I was going through it.
Okay.
um when they say, oh, you make it 1 year and then you're officially postmenopause, so that year of, are we going to make it, are we going to make it a full year
Right.
without a cycle, that kind of thing.
Right.
um I've had people ask me like, oh, I've heard perimenopause is terrible. I've heard menopause is terrible. I'm like, and then once you get to post, you're all right. And I was like, I don't want
Mm,
to burst your bubble, but I think everybody's different. And for
right.
me, it was not hard at all until it was almost like to the day, like a
Oh,
year to the day. You are
okay.
officially postmenopause. And then my body just betrayed me. So I should have taken a lot of steps during that time. And
Yeah.
so what I did after I fell last week, and I was like, man, I should have concentrated on my mobility more. If I would have concentrated on that, then
Yeah.
this wouldn't have happened. Or man, I should be really paying attention to inflammatory markers and foods. And if I would have done that, then I would probably still be running this race. And I mean, all of that went
Mm,
through my head.
mhm.
And then I just started making a list of, yes, I should have done that,
Mhm.
and yes, it would have made a difference. But what could I do now to change the trajectory? Yeah,
Yes.
trajectory. And and so that's just what I did. I made a list last night and I thought, okay, these are the things that I know I can commit to and on the daily without without kind of non-negotiables, if you will.
Right.
And to start doing things a little better, because I think when something happens, for me anyway, and you're faced with a, man, I should have done that different, and then I would have had a different outcome,
Mhm.
it can take me down pretty fast. And I did. I spent the majority of last week just being a big old baby.
Oh,
I
no.
did. I
No.
mean, I cried every day. I just was
Yeah.
like, because I was so disappointed. I was disappointed that I wasn't doing the race with my daughter.
Yeah.
Um, but even more disappointed in that my body just didn't respond. It didn't recover like it does. It didn't bounce back.
Right.
And
Right.
then when I got to the race and saw her, they let us transfer. When we got there, they transferred her ticket to a single division.
Okay.
And watching everybody, I was like, oh wow, I underestimated. Um,
What oh,
you
what the
know,
race was going to be.
yeah, I mean
Okay.
it's hard, which I knew it was
Yeah.
going to be hard, but like
Right.
all the implements on their own, I'm fine with. I can do them, all but really a couple of them she was going to take the lead on, but then there was running in between
Mhm.
every one, and I thought that would have killed me. And my
Yeah.
son looked at me and said, I think if you would have just been stubborn and done this, he said, probably would have really damaged yourself and not been able to probably do anything again.
Yeah.
And I said, you're right. And I just need to take a minute and see what I can do,
Yeah. Yeah.
derivative of could.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Exactly.
what I
Exactly.
can do to not be in this situation again, because I plan on living like, I don't know, I'm 54. There's another good 40 at least years in there.
Easily. Easily.
And,
Yeah.
I'm so inspired by these people who are like in their 70s and 80s and 90s. Like I posted on my Instagram story, this woman, she's 90 something years old, doing a weightlifting competition and deadlifting.
Right.
I mean, how impressive. And it doesn't matter how much weight she's deadlifting. What matters is that her body has the ability to do that because she has made the right
Yes.
steps.
Yeah.
She's taken the initiative to not be the status quo at that
Mhm.
age. And
Yeah.
that's my goal. And I haven't been doing um I really, if I'm honest with myself, haven't been doing it right. I haven't been
Mhm.
giving it enough priority. I've been allowing other things to do that. So today we're like, you know what? I'm the priority. It
Yeah.
doesn't matter what circumstances are. It doesn't matter what's going on at work. It doesn't matter, fill in the blank.
Right.
My health is non-negotiable.
Right. Yeah.
So this is
It
where we
becomes
are.
that it becomes a matter of your mindset. And I
Hmm.
think we're always in this really delicate balance of backing up and rebooting and starting again. Like we always
Hmm.
have that opportunity to do that. So I love your vulnerability in expressing that and saying, that I have the choice to stop where I'm at and reevaluate and move forward in this way instead of
Hmm.
just saying I'm just going to crumble and I'm not going to do anything about it and then you get 10 years down the road and say I should have done this when you realize
Hmm.
you're having a conversation about what's important to you right now,
Hmm.
and your health is important to you right now and feeling good on all the levels, and what is it that does that for you?
Yeah.
And I think that the should situation and replacing it with could definitely gives you it kind of almost like lifts the clouds a little bit and
Hmm.
gives you the power of, like I said, the power of choice.
Yeah.
So I think some of us feel so helpless. I mean, I know I did, and I know where the situation where you were at last week. I know you felt
Yeah.
helpless. You're like, this was supposed to be the way it was going to go. This was my
Hmm.
plan, and I'm here. I am, and what do I do about this now?
Yeah.
So I think it gives you the replacement of the could word, if you will, gives you a little bit more openness and freedom to be able to make a choice and say, okay, I know this happened. However, this is what I now choose to do,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
And that mindset is it's such a huge thing across every level for all of us in
Hmm.
the things that we experience. It's how you perceive your challenges, it's how you analyze your challenges, it's how you move through your challenges. And it's so easy to sit in the middle. Like I told you, like I for a long time sat in this bucket of shoulds.
Hmm.
I was
Right.
drowning in the word should all over me. And
Yeah.
periodically I would claw my way to the top when a therapist would say, "Why are you shoulding yourself?" Like you're instead of,
Right. Shooting.
you're
That's
shoulding
awesome.
yourself, right?
Why are you shooting yourself? I love
Yeah.
it.
And I'm like, "Oh, I am." And it got to a point where I didn't even realize that I was doing it. It just became such an automatic habit to be able
Hmm.
to immediately go to, "Oh, I should have done that. Oh gosh, this happened because I should have done this." If
Hmm.
I if even then you could also go to the would place too and say, "Well, if I would have done this, then this would have happened."
Hmm.
But you can't really go back in time and replace those things. All you can do is free up your power of choice and what it is that you experience in terms of how you articulate those challenges and how you move forward from them. So, I'm
Yeah.
proud of you for,
Oh, thanks. I
looking at
heard
that
a
future.
quote that I heard a quote, a random quote on Instagram. It's this girl who I'm gonna butcher the quote. I just know it, but I did write it down. But I don't have it in front of me. She was in the army. I don't know if you've heard of her, but her name's Deshauna. Um, oh, I can't think of her last name, but she was the first Miss America. There was also a United States soldier, like in the army.
Okay.
And so she tells her story and she talks about somebody approached her. She was like 19 years old when they approached her. She was already in the army.
Mhm.
And they were like, you should do that. Like out of the blue, like total stranger. Like you should do this. And gave her like she was from Washington, DC. And so she became like did all these pageants. She lost like 7 preliminary pageants.
Oh, wow.
And she said she told the lady, she was like, or 6 or 7. She said, "I'm losing. Like what is worth it?" She said, "Just try again. Just
Yeah.
try again." And so and she tells the story that that lady, the lady that was like coaching her and mentoring her, had passed away, and 6 months later she entered the pageant, and then she became Miss Washington, D.C. And then 6 months after that, she became the first soldier to ever be Miss America.
Aw.
And what she said was that she said, Everybody's going to fail no matter what." And she said, "But feeling the fear of failure to me is, I would rather feel the fear of failure than have to deal with the feelings of regret." And
Mm.
she's regret
Mhm.
is way worse
Yeah.
than failure. And I
Yeah.
thought, you're exactly right. You always look back, and that's the should have. That's
Yes.
regret.
That's your shoulds. That's your should
Yeah.
monster. That's
Like I
that's the whole.
regret that there's
Mhm.
some things I didn't do. I regret that I wasn't more vigilant, but
Mm. Mhm.
I can't do anything about that.
Yeah.
So now you just got to turn the other way, you got to draw the line in the sand. And that's
Right.
life. It's not just my situation. We all have life ebbs and flows, and we all have situations where we're faced with, you know the truth of
Mm.
our situation,
Yeah.
whatever it is.
Yeah.
And then you have choices, like you said.
Yeah. Dude, you
So
just mic drop moment there 5 different times during that.
was her quote, but I was like, what? And I screenshotted it, I Googled it, I wrote it down, I did
Yeah.
all the things.
It's powerful. It's so powerful because I know my daughter has a friend that plays a sport and is kind of facing the end of his sport at the end of high school as a senior in high school and is contemplating, has an offer to play his sport in college, but is contemplating it and isn't quite sure. And is kind of having a rocky time with his high school sport within the team and time kind of their record and everything that like as a whole, as a group.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of making him feel a little bit about
Yeah.
his game, right?
Hmm.
And I remember because I think it was because my daughter, well, and I pound her over the head with all this information too. So she probably is really tired of hearing all the "you can do it" kind of stuff too much.
Do it afraid. You got
Do
this.
you have to go all the things, right? But I will tell you one thing she told him was that, look, you want to go out there and play your best, regardless of what's happening outside of what you can control. Because
Hmm.
if you choose not to go on and play the sport ever again after you play your last high school game, you don't want to look back and as an adult and have any regret. Like,
Right.
I should have done this. And I was like, oh,
Come on the
wow. I'm
podcast.
so proud of you for saying
Yeah.
that. Yeah,
Yeah.
because it's something that I think a lot of us do, and we can all look back on different things and say, "Oh god, I should have reached out to this person. I should have before this happened. I could, I should have exercised today. I should have made the most of that opportunity when I
Hmm.
had it." But life gives us those pieces and those failures for us to then feel what that feels like. And then with that feeling, here comes a choice. And to get to that choice to kind of kickstart it, I think our words are such a huge piece of it and how we speak to
Hmm.
ourselves and how we speak to others. And like that power of, okay, I could do this instead
Yeah.
of feeling should. Like if you say to yourself, oh, I really should eat healthy tonight, I really should eat
Hmm.
that sweet potato instead of those french fries.
Yeah.
Or saying that versus, "Oh, I could eat that sweet potato instead of those french fries." It just has a whole to me, it has a whole
Hmm.
different feel to the whole
Yeah.
sentence, you know? And
Yeah.
I'd
And then it
much
becomes
rather
about
be.
what serves you better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. It just then it opens up a whole myriad of other questions and other avenues that you can go down. And to me, I'd rather have more choice versus this closed off wall that is just womp, womp, womp,
Right. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because we're in so much negativity as it stands. Every
Mhm.
day we just get bombarded with judgments, we get bombarded with anger, we get bombarded with resentment, we get bombarded with all these big, heavy feelings. Even on
Mhm.
good days, you can still be bombarded with kind of the crud, kind of the yuck stuff. And then we talk about it every week. What is it that stops us from making the choice to live our best life and to talk positively to ourselves, to be
Mhm.
non-judgmental, to try to be as open-minded as possible, to try to have a positive outlook? And it really boils down for me. This was a big game changer for me when I was in therapy years ago, and this piece came up. It's really getting to the point of obligation versus possibility,
Mhm.
and
Mhm. Mm.
wouldn't you want to know there's more possibilities than obligations because obligations are heavy.
Yeah.
Possibilities feel they have a lightness to them,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
choice. So you get to choose your possibilities. You could choose those opportunities. And like we don't always get to choose our day. We very seldom do we get to choose how everything ebbs and flows. It's kind of out of our control. So what can we control? Our attitude and our effort and what we put into
Mhm.
it.
Mhm.
And so for me, this is just another piece of what I can control. It's the effort that I put into my self-talk. It's the effort that I put into what it is I put out into the world around me. And no, it's not perfect.
Right.
No, because before we hit the
For
record, I was
any of
just
us.
grouching to you about a situation that was happening to me,
Right.
So,
Right.
but it's always I think we're always dealing with turn the wheel and
Mhm.
let's reboot. And
Mhm.
how can we reboot? What does that look like? And that's the premise of this whole year is how do we reboot? What can we
Yeah.
do? And what tool works for us personally to reboot and go, all right, I get a fresh start. Okay, I get to start again. All right, I can release that thought. I can have choice.
Mhm.
Okay, I don't have choice in this, but what can I control about it? Okay, my attitude. What can I do? What do I need to do to make that happen? All the things.
Oh,
All the
yeah, and you were mentioning obligation and possibility, I
Yeah.
think. Is that what you said?
Yep.
Yeah. And, what's funny is that we all have obligations. We're not gonna get away from that.
Hmm.
Um, and it's things we have to do, like we all have to go to work. I mean, most of us have to
Yeah.
do something to provide for our family. We're not just magically, money's not growing on trees for us to buy groceries. So we
Yep.
know there's obligations that we have where we have obligations to our family. We have obligations to, fill in the blank. But I think like taking those obligations and finding the possibilities like within the things that you can't that you have to do,
Yeah.
I think is key too to keep you like when you said attitude and effort.
Mhm.
Like in taking care of my health, like I work at a restaurant. I have to go to work. I have to work at this place. That's an obligation in my life. I've
Mhm.
committed to this to do a good job, my best, but I've also committed to my health. So what are
Right.
the possibilities within the obligation that set me up for success and to be for myself to be a priority and to still show up
Yeah.
as
I
I
love it.
should in that place. And so I think that that's always the rub,
Mhm.
you know,
Mhm.
and people who just get really, really, I've seen it 1,000 times, get stuck in the bad attitude of the obligation. When you do that, you just blind yourself to possibility.
Yeah,
Then
you shut the
everything's,
door.
yeah, and everything's just bad.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I just do this and I got to do this and life's always
Mhm.
like this. And like, okay, we got to
Mhm.
we got to flip the script because
Mhm.
who wants to live like that every day? Not me.
Yeah. It's
You know.
very exhausting and it's very
Mhm.
overwhelming to be in that space all the time. I love what are the possibilities in the obligations you said? What
Mhm.
are the possibilities in the obligations? That's perfect. Perfect. I love that.
Yeah, I mean, it's just and why is it so easy just to be negative? Why is it so easy to
Mhm.
drown in the obligation? I don't understand why that's easier.
Yeah.
It is. It's so easy to shut down.
Yeah.
It
I
just
think it
takes a
just
little bit of
becomes
effort. Yeah, or maybe it's
right,
just habit. I don't know.
yeah, I think it becomes habitual at a certain point,
Mhm.
and I think sometimes we get in a point and we get in a cycle where we don't even realize that we're doing it until we
Mhm.
step outside of ourselves, and I will tell you that the more under pressure I am and the more busy that I am, the quicker that kind of notice for me on like where I'm noticing that I'm going down that path,
Mhm.
it, the more that goes away. I don't
Mhm.
have the capability necessarily to stop myself and pause myself as easily because I'm so busy. So how do we combat being busy and being able to push that pause button and being able to say, all right, I'm in this space. This is, I think, where I really rely. This is my personal intake here. I
Mhm.
really rely on the people around me. And I feel like the relationships that I've cultivated have been really great for me to be able to say, "Hey, Dawn, I just want to tell you something that I see." And
Mhm.
and then, like, maybe that's not the best for everybody, but for me, it's worked because it's a conversation that I've had with my loved ones that are really close to me that
Mhm.
can say, "I see this happening on you, and I know that it's something that's important to you to not go down that road. So can you, you know" does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. But that's hard. It's hard to do, but it's
And
hard. It's also
it's hard to hear too sometimes
Mm,
because we I don't feel like any of us are purposely trying to not do it the right way or hurt ourselves along the way.
right.
Um, so when we're in something we can't see, or maybe we do see it and we're ignoring it, whatever.
Mhm. Yeah.
Um, so when somebody comes and says, "Hey, this is what I'm noticing," or this this isn't really this isn't normally like you. Is everything okay?
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know.
that's the approach, and it's not a, "Hey, let me tell you what I see, I think you're being a jerk." You're
Right.
it's more
Yeah.
it's done from a place of, "Hey, I support you," and just like you said, you're not yourself, is
Hmm.
what's happening with you today,
Yeah.
and a lot of times that will elicit just enough of me to not even I don't have to have the answer to what that is, but just that phrase or that suggestion to me will go, "Ooh, all right, I'm gonna just relieve myself here for from the room for a couple of minutes and just kind of regroup and do a little bit of a self kind of
Yeah.
examination on what's happening in my brain."
Yeah.
Because we do get that habitual nonstop this is bad, and then this is bad, and then if this is bad, then this is bad, and then if this is bad, that nonstop
Noise.
train, if you will.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. It's noise.
It's very noisy,
Right.
very
Right.
noisy,
It
very
is.
noisy.
It is. And
And the
so it
thing
just go ahead. And the thing
Oh,
was,
it's just the thing that we talk about every week. It's like, how do we stop that negativity train from taking over? How do we stop what is it that inhibits us from doing that? Why do we not make the choice to be in a state of positivity? Why do we not make the choice to shift our focus? Is it because our brains are so inundated, like we're talking about, like it just gets so busy? Because it's not my first choice to be a negative individual when I'm in
mhm,
those places,
yeah.
but why do we automatically go there? Why do
Hmm.
we do that? Like, that's the big question. Is there a trigger? Is there something within our environment? I think it's different for everybody, but I think that it's just really, really it's really insightful for me when someone says to me, "Hey, you're not really yourself. Is everything okay?"
Is everything okay? Right.
Yeah.
And you can either say, "Yeah, I'm great," and go deal with it, or you can go, "No, I'm really not okay," and go
Yeah.
deal with it. But what I'm learning the older I get is that being truthful with myself is the most important thing
Yeah.
because I can lie to myself easily and convince myself that where I'm at or what I'm doing or the way I'm thinking or the way I'm treating someone is completely justified and fine. Um, but when I'm faced with a let's be truthful here, um, then the burden is on me. So
Mhm.
it's not on anybody else to change me. It's on me.
Yeah.
So I get to decide, okay, who do I want to show up as?
Right.
And what do I need to do to show up as authentically that person?
Mhm.
And then I get to decide. And you get to decide.
Yeah,
That's
and
the
it's so hard. It's so hard depending upon the day because it can be like, we can be so deep in our our shoulding
Mhm.
and our
Right.
woulding. We have to be so deep,
Right.
so deep in that bleh, that we
Mhm.
can't see the forest for the trees,
Yeah.
and then everything just piles in, and then it's really, really exhausting and very hard to be able to separate to separate it and to be able to go,
Mhm.
okay, this is what's happening. This is what I'm doing. This is the road I just drove down. And why am I self-deprecating?
Mhm.
Why am I doing this? What is this helping? How is this helping?
Yeah. You just have to reframe. And that's the hard part. People don't take the time to reframe because there are certain affirmations that I call them affirmations. I mean, that's what they are, but it's a reframe of a negative thought.
Yeah.
And so if I'm feeling stuck, then the reframe is I am not stuck.
Mhm.
Um, if I'm feeling guilty because I'm spending so much time like taking care of my own well-being, um, and I tell myself, you really should be, doing this or doing that or whatever, taking care of your family this way.
Mhm.
Um, then in my reframe is that the greatest act of love that I can show my family is to take care of my health and wellness.
Right.
um, it's just a reframe. And when you do that, some people I think don't do it because they feel stupid, honestly. I've
Right.
had people go, that's ridiculous. I mean, I don't know that I could do that. Well, who was watching? It's just you.
Right. It's right
Do
here. It's just
it's
in
just
here.
here. Like, do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
If it'll help you, you don't have to like stand in front of your friends and family and go, I am not stuck. The greatest love I can show my family. You don't have to do that. It's just
Right.
you. So
Right.
start with like writing it down. And
Right.
you've got those little cards too, like that. And
Yes.
I ordered some. They're so fun. But
Yes.
if you're
They're
having
great.
trouble, like there's so many resources for people to help put light, fill themselves with life and
Mhm.
light.
Right.
And yeah, it's all about the reframe.
Yeah.
And and that's what I try to do. I mean, for myself, and it's not easy. I
Mhm.
say that like, oh, it's all about the reframe.
Yeah.
It's hard and it takes
Mhm.
discipline
Mhm.
to program. You can retrain your brain to get that to start thinking in that direction
Mhm.
rather than a negative direction. But negative thoughts are always going to just try to just
Yeah.
get in there.
Yeah. They're strong. There's a
Yeah.
strong embedded piece with that, and I'd like to know what that scientific data is. Like, if maybe
Yeah,
could
it's
share
out
that
there.
out.
Mel Robbins has it. She talks about it all the time about
Mhm.
rewiring your brain. A lot of people talk about it, but
Yeah.
she's the one with that the 5 4 3 2 1 and the high five habit and all of that. And she talks about the brain and she has
Yeah.
some brain guy, doctor people research that backs up how you can change, um, almost like the chemical, like
Yeah.
the what gives you the whatever hit or dopamine or whatever. So
Right.
that is
Right.
such a very uneducated, I don't know what I'm talking about way to say it, but there are experts out there who know.
Yes, exactly.
And I am not one of them, but I know it works because I've
Yeah.
done it myself. I used to be extremely negative about I had horrible self-talk. Um,
Mhm.
and then I had children.
I remember you said this on a podcast previously about how it's important how I talk to myself, meaning you, like we're saying,
Hmm.
talking about yourself, and that it really shifted for you when you had children
Hmm.
because that they don't need to hear that. And every time they do what they see,
Hmm.
monkey do.
Yeah.
So if you are doing that, then they will start doing that. And you stopped them. I know you were talking about this and would say, when they would say something negative about themselves or a
Hmm.
situation, you would make them give you
Three
like 3
positives.
positives about it.
Hmm.
Yeah. So
I
it's a
had a friend.
reframe.
I had a friend who made me do that as an adult.
Oh, how
I was in
hard
my
is that? It's
I
so
was in
hard.
my 20s and we were both in our 20s and I met her and she's my best friend now. I mean, we've been so close, like sisters for like over 30 years.
Mhm.
And I remember one time I said something about being fat and
Mhm.
she was like, mm-mm, no, ma'am, you don't get to say that. Would you ever tell me I was fat? And I was like,
Mm.
never. She said, then why would you tell yourself? So give me three things that are good, not that you love about yourself. And I used to say, okay, I have nice eyes. And then after a while she'd go, give me three things and you can't say you have nice eyes.
You got to go something
We've
different.
already
Yes.
established that.
Yes.
So she's the one who taught me that. And I saw her do it with her kids, and her kids are older. She had her kids before I had mine.
Yeah.
And I learned a lot from her in those, like, that building, um, just raising kids with a strong, self awareness, self confidence.
Yeah,
And
self-esteem.
even when you raise them that way, we still struggle.
Yeah.
Everybody just struggles.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what if the building block, what are your go-tos? What is the voice you hear? That's what's important. And not everybody has that voice. It's negative. Mine
Yeah.
was,
Yeah,
you know.
well, and I think that's just the automatic kickback that we go to with the things that we experience in this world. I mean,
Mhm.
with the speed of the world, with the intensity of the world, with everything that's upon us in the current day. I mean, there's just we're inundated so much in social
Mhm.
media. Like, well, I know I hate to say that's such a buzzword, but it like depending upon the platform, there's a lot of different things just are just coming at you nonstop. And a
Yeah.
lot of time that invasion is so strong that it creates this feeling of lack and this feeling of
Mhm.
I'm not enough. As I am,
Yeah.
I'm not
It's
enough.
awful. It
Mhm.
was bad enough growing up without social media, because you comparison has always been a thing.
Yeah.
But when you can look at somebody's best day on your worst day and think that you lack something, that's just,
Mhm.
it feels almost evil to me. I know that's a huge word, but it feels so wrong on
Yeah.
so many levels. And I fall for it too.
Yeah.
I'm like, look at
We all
her.
do.
She's 54. She's doing this. She's got it together. What?
Mhm.
But I'm not seeing her on her normal day. I'm seeing the very best things she's putting out there.
Yes.
Even when people say this is a bad day, it's, I, I mean, I guess people are out there putting their worst self. I don't know. I've never seen it.
Yeah, no, I very seldom see the bad stuff on social media
Really?
where
Or
people
if
are
you are
talking
sharing
about, "Let me
something
tell you."
vulnerable,
Yeah.
yeah, if you're sharing something vulnerable that's meaningful, that might have a, like a struggle that you're going through, you're
Mhm.
still in a position where you've come to some sort of something to be able to share it.
Right. Right.
Nobody saw you like in the floor or whatever you were doing, but
Right. Yeah, and I think we
balled
all
up
get
and
to these
yeah.
points. I mean, you got to the point where you are now because of situations that you went through and struggles that you went through that
Mhm.
you had to go through. And I think those stories that we are living in really help to develop a lot of muscles in our brain, if
Mhm.
you will.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
we can shape shift our muscles by exercising them another way, like you talked about reframing and being honest with yourself and I'm not saying being honest with yourself about, look, I did all the bad stuff, but being honest about the fact that it's not always the pendulum isn't always all the way over to the far
Mm-mm.
side. Let's bring
Mm-mm.
it back to the center line. And if you got a negative, let's find two positives to go against it,
Right.
or even one. And
Right. One is, yeah,
yeah,
just find a way to be positive in some way, to bring life. It's just, there's no life in negativity. It's
right,
really, you can't be negative and grateful in the same breath.
right.
You can't do it.
Not at all. Not at
So
all.
just shift it. Just shift. And it's hard at first. I mean, I know this is gonna, people are gonna go cuckoo. But if I have a thought that doesn't align with, that just kind of hits me out of the blue and doesn't align with who I either am or I'm
Mhm.
striving to be, sometimes I will out loud say, no, that is not true.
Oh,
I
I
will
love it.
reframe it immediately,
Oh
because
gosh, great.
words are powerful, and my brain needs to know that that kind of thought is really not welcome.
Yeah, there's no vacancy for that room.
Right.
Yeah.
And I will just go, nope. And it could be anything. Like when I worry about my kids,
Yeah.
sometimes mamas get crazy
Oh,
thoughts.
yes. Yes, they do.
We get crazy thoughts, especially
Yeah.
if we feel uneasy about where our kids are or what they're doing, or we're not sure. We
Yep.
just get really insane up there.
Right.
And I have often just by myself been like, no, my children are safe. My children are, you know, covered in grace and mercy. My
Yeah.
kids are thriving.
Yeah.
I mean, I just start saying things like that
Yeah.
just
I
because
don't
it's
think
my
that's true.
brain.
That is not cuckoo. I've done that in the past, and I've been told to do that in the past, and it's been very productive for me.
Yeah.
It's been a good thing. I just I love the reframing thing and how you've gone to this automatic thing. How hard was that for you to get to that point where you do that automatically?
I don't I don't know. I don't know how long it's
Or
taken or how long it's been, but I will out loud. I'll be in my car sometimes. I'm like, "Nope, that is
yeah.
not a good thought," and I'll reframe immediately.
Do you remember the
Um,
first time you did it?
I don't actually.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been doing this for like years.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, probably well, probably since I was pregnant with my son, which would be 26 years ago,
Mhm.
because my husband started traveling overseas and we would go back then we didn't have cell phones. There were satellite phones and
Yep.
we had fax machines where we could fax letters.
Yeah.
So he and I would fax letters like 2 or 3 times a week, and we would get one phone call on Sundays for 15 minutes. And he was gone for like 4 months at a time,
Yeah.
ish. And so during the times where we couldn't talk that the week, I would get super afraid
Yeah.
and just crazy afraid.
Mhm.
And then that was when I started learning, okay, I have to speak life. He's safe.
Mhm.
He's, God protects him. He's protected.
Mhm.
And I just started saying all of these things, and that would settle me.
Yeah.
And so probably that's when it started.
Yeah. Well, it's super productive because I look
Yeah.
at you as a person that is not without challenges, but that has a real ability to take the leaf and flip it over and go, let's find, like you said earlier, what are the possibilities in these obligations? What are the possibilities in this situation? Because
Yeah.
there's always a possibility you can always find a possibility. Sometimes we just don't like to look at them because they
Right.
seem not like the ego takes over and it seems like it's not really what we like we want. We want it to be, but this is what we want it to be, not
Yeah.
this. But
Or
it's
when you look
still
at it and you flip the script and then you see, oh, now I have to take action in order to keep this script flipped. And then
yeah.
we have a choice.
Yeah.
So to see a better way, to see the silver lining, to see a positive is great and good. But you that has to be followed up with action too.
Yeah.
And that's not always the follow through. It's the
Right.
hardest part.
Right, right. It's taking responsibility for it.
Mhm.
You know, it's because I think when we take responsibility for it, it makes it real. I've known a lot of people in my life that have not addressed their traumas or have not addressed their addictions because
Mhm.
speaking it or talking about it or unearthing it from themselves would mean that that would have to they would have to take action.
You have to
You
change
know?
something.
So yeah,
Yeah.
now people see me. It's out in the open, whether that people, I'm putting air quotes around it, is one
Yeah.
person or a group of people. You know, when you let it go, it can decrease the pressure and guilt a lot of times, but it
Mhm.
also then creates that, okay, what are you gonna do about it now?
Mhm.
You know, and
Yeah.
I think a lot of us would rather just walk around holding on to those winter coats instead
Mhm.
of shedding them because it's easier to hold on to what we're comfortable with and what
Mhm.
even if it's uncomfortable,
Yeah.
hanging on to the stuff that we've been in for so long and just know because we know what it's gonna be, you know, we
Mhm.
know what it's gonna look like versus laying it out there, then you have to take action like you said,
Mhm.
and we don't know what that action is. It could totally be it's likely gonna be a lot different than the way you're living with your
Sure.
addiction, but
Sure.
taking action about it, it really has a beautiful other side to it.
It does.
It really does.
It's the difference between the possibility this just came to me, but possibility is all fun and good, but
Mhm.
probability is all dependent on your actions and
Yeah.
what you do. So
Yes.
I can live in possibility, like, oh, it's possible for me to do this. Oh, this is great. This is a great idea. This is probably what I should do. But then the the likelihood of that all happening, the likelihood of you following through is is all on you. It's all on
Mhm.
taking action.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it only comes probable when you decide to keep a promise to yourself.
Yeah.
And that's hard to do. It's hard. It's so easy to say. It's so
Yeah.
easy to say and so
Yeah.
hard to do.
Yeah, and I can tell you for anyone listening or watching us today, we're not sitting here saying we don't have problems. We don't have issues. Or we haven't gone through traumas and addictions and all the things. It's
Yeah.
I think the difference is walking through them, and that we're probably in a state of life where you said, I'm in a place now where I'm just going to be honest with myself because
Hmm.
really, what do I have to lose?
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah, I know what I have to lose with being
Mhm.
dishonest, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
or just not facing it. I can be honest and real with myself and just decide to ignore it. I mean, that's a whole
Yeah.
different thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I struggle on the daily.
Mhm. Yeah, we
And,
do,
you
and
know,
I don't think that the I my hope is that the comparison isn't, "Oh, well, look at what they're saying and how great that is, and I should be able to do this easily." No, you could replace the should with, "I could do this easily," which
mhm,
lessens the degree of pressure and obligation and gives you that, "Okay, now when I put that out there," now here's my woo-woo for the day, right? When I put that out there, I feel like it opens up these imaginary doors, even if it's
mhm,
just a crack of light,
mhm,
where opportunity can then flood in. And I'm talking opportunity, I'm talking, um, powerful moments that you can have these downloads from, you know,
mhm.
from the other side. Like we
Absolutely.
question
Absolutely.
ourselves a lot of times in prayer.
Mhm,
And you request during petitions in your prayer, and you say you're asking for the things that you're hopeful for, and then you release any expectation to how it's going to go. But if we continue to close the door and close the door and close the door, and I'm speaking from experience because I've
mhm.
closed the door so many times on different opportunities to be able to be a better version of myself, not just for myself, but for the people around me. When
Mhm.
I close that door and continue to do that, I have no light in this dark room that is myself.
Yeah.
And then when I don't have any light, then there's no opportunity and nothing changes. And even if
Mhm.
it's just a little bit, that's what
Yeah.
you want. A little bit
Yeah.
of light is better than all dark. Just
Right. And a little bit of light can, if you've ever been in a totally dark room and you just have a lighter, when you first light it, you see the light, but then you give it about 30 seconds and you can see everything in the room.
yeah,
I mean, it's just,
changes the perspective.
yes,
Mhm.
darkness is very, very powerless over light. And so it
Absolutely.
just takes a little bitty flicker. But I would say I had somebody ask me, you know, it can get really overwhelming if you look at your life and you look at things you want to change and you just make a list of the things that you want to change. Then you look at it and you're like, oh my gosh, what in the world? Um, and my suggestion would be to just start with gratitude. That's what I do. I start with gratitude, and
Yep.
it really does reframe my day to start grateful.
Mhm.
And
It's a game
and
changer.
And then just, okay, I want to get more protein in my diet. Okay, why don't you put protein in your coffee in the mornings and drink that while you're being grateful? Like habit
Yeah.
stack, just
Yeah.
little things. And then, okay, I want to get movement every day. Okay, just figure out where it fits in.
Yep.
And then you just kind of little by little just go through and just make small, tiny changes. It's just
Mhm.
like, I don't know who says it, but I think it's the habit. There's a book about habits. I can't remember the name of it, but it's really good. But he talks about just 1% better every day.
Yeah. Yeah.
And eventually, 1% better every day, eventually, you have completely changed everything
Right.
just with 1% every day.
Right.
So I want to drink water every day. Okay, drink water every day. And then the
Right.
next day, whatever, you can figure it out.
Right. Right. It's
Mhm.
1%. You are so, so correct.
Yeah,
So correct.
find something you're already doing consistently and just tack something onto that,
Yeah.
you know?
Amen, sister.
So,
Amen. Let's
yeah,
find the possibilities in those obligations. Let's
let's do
find
it.
the open space. Let's find the sliver of light that can
Mhm,
give you those opportunities and that can reframe. It's all about reframing. And then on top of that, it's about believing that you are capable of it and that
mhm.
you're worthy of it. You're worthy of it.
Absolutely, absolutely, and then you don't have to sit in the woulda, coulda, shoulda.
Yeah.
Because
All that
that's not a comfortable chair.
no, it's
Mm-mm.
I can attest, my
I
friend.
can too. I can too.
Mhm.
I've been living there for the last week or so. It's not, well, longer than the last week. It just came to the surface this past week, but it's not a comfortable chair.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
look at what you've done. You've made
Yeah.
choice, you know?
Yeah.
Reframed. So,
Reframed.
let's go out and reframe. Let's do our
There you
best.
go. Take some action. Yeah.
Yes. Find the possibilities, guys. You can do it. I know you can. Dixie and I can do it. You can too.
Yep.
Yay. Well, Dixie, I love it. Every week, it's always a good one.
It is
Always
a good
good.
one. Today was good.
Thank you so much for sharing of yourself. Super appreciate that.
Well,
It's
you
great.
too, my friend.
Oh, you're welcome. Welcome. And we hope that this inspires everyone to share of yourselves in a bigger, broader way to be the best person that you can for your community at large. Remember, it all starts with that self belief that you are enough, you are worthy, and you can make those positive choices and find the possibility. So,
So,
yay.
yay.
All right. Y'all have a wonderful one, and we'll see you on the next episode.
Yep. Yep. Bye.
Bye.